Hey guys, Thunder E here, and we're back with another professional photographer camera review. And I'm with my buddy here, Marian Sell. How's it going?
Very good, thank you.
Good.
Hello.
Yeah. So if you guys don't know Marian is a professional photographer. He does a lot of fashion, lifestyle, portrait photos, some beautiful stuff. Definitely go check him out. I'll have a link for his website and his Instagram page. He took some photos of Gal Gadot. We all love Wonder Woman, so I just gotta throw that out there. But I don't think he took any photos of her at this time with the S10 Plus. But he's like a bunch of them, right? So but I went ahead and gave him the S10 Plus because we started the series last year with the S9 Plus, so it's almost like a year.
Yeah.
And this was an opportunity to see how Samsung's camera has evolved, especially moving from 2 lenses last year to 3.
Yes.
With the ultra wide, and he loves ultra wide photography like no tomorrow. So what did you, at least in terms of upgrades, did you like the upgrade, in terms of 3 lenses from last year?
Yeah, absolutely. It lets you play much more. You've got much more variety. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay, cool. So we're gonna go over a couple of photos. If you've never watched this video before, we're gonna look at some JPEGs, some RAWs, some other things that are about the camera, and then we'll round up this video and he'll give you his thoughts on what the S10 Plus camera is all about. So basically, this is the only person to listen to on YouTube. Everybody else can just go sit down. I'm gonna shut up and we'll just jump in.
So the first 3 photos we're looking at, this is a super wide angle shot and the regular shot and the teleshot of the same environment. This was the evening when the big snowstorm came to New York City. And it was just at the time when basically the ambient light and the artificial lights inside the buildings kind of matched up. The photographers call this the blue hour, and it's a moment when a lot of architecture photographers go outside and take the architecture photos. So the super wide angle lens is quite impressive. It is 123 degrees field of view, which roughly translates into a 12mm lens on a 35mm camera. So that is actually really wide angle. Usually this type of lens has a fisheye look to it, but somehow Samsung managed to keep all the lines straight, which is it is an impressive engineering to manage inside such a small phone. I want to say that all of the lenses, all of the sensors seem to have very good detail. The software does add a little bit of sharpening to those because these are all JPEG photos. It is not exaggeratedly sharpened though, so it has a nice feel to it, I think. No complaints here on either of the shots. Okay, and here we have 2 night shots. Maybe as you know, I really love wide angle lenses because they really bring you very close to your subject. And earlier you saw the cloud of the snowstorm come in, and here I am with my bicycle actually in the snowstorm, so I got super soaked that night. Anyways, this super wide angle lens is doing really amazing things. I love the look of it. You can very easily shoot nighttime shots out of your hand. I hear that there might be an upgrade coming where Samsung gets a dedicated night mode, so I'm curious about this. But as of right now, the camera switches to ISO 800. With such a wide angle lens, you can actually easily hold like 1/5 of a second out of your hand without shaking it. So, looks pretty good. I wanted to say one thing, that is, I added a little bit of a positive vignette to this image. So if you see it without the vignette, you are a little bit under the impression that the corners are a little bit too dark. So I'm sure that Samsung software is already adding quite a lot of a positive vignette to the super wide angle lens, because typically this kind of lens have a lot of fall off towards the sides of the frames. Here is another, as you see, super rainy night shot with the regular lens in this case, the normal lens, and no complaints on this one either. The camera allows you to easily shoot out of your hand. You see how all the lights are throwing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stars around them. So that's coming from the f-stop. It has a real nice starry feel to it, I think. Details are really good, no complaints. And here's a very quick shot of my friend Andy, just to give you an idea of how ultra wide angle this lens is actually. It's very wide, to the extent that I most of the times ended up having my fingers inside the shot. Here is a shot. I tried to get my friends in mid-air at jumping, and here's my first complaint about the software of the phone. It is very, very difficult to time the shutter right. So if you want your friends to be jumping in a photo, you may as well go ahead and hit the burst button and take a lot of photos, because it's very, very unpredictable when the camera is taking the photo after you click the button. Sometimes it's a half second, sometimes it seems to be a second or even more after. Here's a quick shot of the building that I was in earlier when I took the photos out of the windows. It's just to demonstrate you what a telelens look gives you. The lines of the architecture buildings seem to be more straight than when you're shooting up with a wide-angle lens, and the kind of buildings stack up behind one another. So all the lines that are now going towards the bottom left corner of the image are kind of stacked, and it has a very distinct telelens look to it. If you know your way around German photographers, then you will know that the Germans love their water towers. So just to test the camera a little bit, I went up to a roof and shot some water towers. This one here in a very strong backlit environment, once again super wide angle. So this is no shadow recovery, and this is a lot of shadow recovery. I don't have complaints here. You know, maybe you remember that if you saw the iPhone video, the iPhone XS does a very good job at backlit photo environments. And even I remember the GoPro doing a really, really good job. The Samsung doesn't seem to be trying so hard to make the photo look like make it look appealing, so you get a little bit more of a natural feel here in the backlit environment, which I appreciate. I like it, but they could do a tiny bit more, maybe. Okay, here in this one more time, 3 images that show you the look you get just by switching lenses, the different looks you get. Super wide angle is incredibly wide angle. Trying to zoom in here into the city and you barely recognize the Empire State Building. On the regular lens, you get a more balanced feeling of the perspective and you recognize the city in the background. And then the telelens, you can see the little birds flying around here. You get a really good amount of details here. This is where my most important RAW file test comes in, because I wanted to show you the difference in JPEG and RAW file. Obviously the JPEG gets a little bit of a contrast setting from Samsung, just to make the image look appealing, basically. The RAW file comes in kind of neutral, which is of course very good, so that's a very good thing. Also it comes in not sharpened. I think the look of the RAW file is very good. I'm used to this kind of look, because as a professional photographer, when you tether your camera into this program, Capture One, the images initially come in like this, and then you go ahead and you add your contrast setting or whatever you like to add to it. So if you pay attention a little bit, you see that around the Empire State Building, for example, in the JPEG file you've got a little bit of a white outline, and that is the artificial sharpening, which you don't have in the RAW file. So yeah, pretty good job on the RAW file. I want to show you one big thing, like the big reason to shoot RAW instead of JPEG. So if we were to go ahead and try something like, for example, a black and white image where we darken the sky, then in a JPEG, so basically what I'm doing here, I'm darkening the blue tones in a black and white photo. In the JPEG, you're instantly confronted to the JPEG compression, which is pretty heavy, and I'm doing the same thing to the RAW file, and you see how well that translates. I'm actually going to go ahead and exaggerate this even more by darkening the image. No problems whatsoever. You've got perfect gradient here in the RAW file compared to the JPEG. So that's very neat. All right, here we did a little test of the burst mode. That's me jumping, my friend Andy taking the photograph. And the burst mode, unfortunately, we only found out later that you have to really start hitting the button very early, and you have to leave it pressed very long until after the action. So basically all of our bursts have always ended with basically the one shot that we wanted, but you couldn't see the landing now. So they look great, by the way. I guess now I can only estimate because I wasn't able to find the information online. I guess it's about 10 frames in a second in this particular case. And all of these frames are high res, in this case 60 megapixel with a super wide angle. and they all look great.
So guys, you've heard Marian's take on the Galaxy S10 Plus camera. It's a triple camera setup, and it sounded like you enjoyed it, but you also had a few things that you would like to see fixed, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I want to give you a quick, basically sum up. So I think that 3 lenses are great to have in your pocket because they really allow you to play around. You can click, you can cycle through different looks, and it's really enjoyable to being able to do that. It allows you to be much more creative. Then I think that all the images came in pretty well balanced, as in like they didn't scream colors or didn't do anything outrageous or so. It looked pretty good. The file naming is great because maybe you remember like, we had a phone where there was like a messy file naming situations, and actually it's a very organic file naming. Actually, you just look at the file name, you know what day the photo was taken. That's a big benefit. But okay, I had a lot of struggle with the phone itself because I'm an iPhone user mainly, and I'm not used to having the round corners that are touch sensitive. So whenever I tried, for example, to take a selfie with a super wide angle lens, it always switched into a different mode, and it took just photos of the landscape because it went back into like a portrait mode, which was now held the wrong way around. And I was struggling with the focus every now and then as well, because focus seemed to be lazy. Sometimes the image was visibly unsharp, but then the phone didn't do a second attempt to refocus. So I had to tell it, try, then do it again. That was another thing. And I think that the Pro mode, I think like professional people in photography are very visual people. The Pro mode could be designed in a different manner, I think, to make it more visual, to make it more appealing for visual people, and it could be a little more organic, it feels like. But besides that, once you get used to it, it allows you to do all those things.
Not forgetting the Pro mode doesn't add the ultra wide lens as well.
Exactly, well, and that's a big disadvantage actually. But I believe it's only a software thing. As of right now in the Pro mode, you can't shoot with a super wide angle and the telelens. You can only shoot with a regular lens, which is a big downer for me. I wouldn't understand why. I guess it's just a software situation, yes. So it must be an update. But besides that, you know what? It's a pretty powerful tool to have in your pocket. And the best camera is always the camera that you have on you. So you can't take any photos without a camera, obviously. And if you would ask me if I wanted to schlep like a big DSLR camera around with me while snowboarding, then no, absolutely not.
Speaking of snowboarding,
yes,
you did some steady shots, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yes, actually, the camera comes with one feature that's really amazing. So it lets you film. The camera, the sensor of the regular lens is a 4K sensor, so you can film and tell it to make it shake free. So basically, what it does is like you still get a 1080p video file out of it, and the software kind of crops in. So basically, it takes the shake out of your hands digitally, and it's fantastic, so much fun. I took 2 or 3 videos with it and they look amazing. Yeah, this is really a great feature.
Well, it sounds like you definitely enjoyed using this phone.
Yes, I do.
And of course, there's some things that can be fixed for you.
Yeah.
And I think luckily it sounds like a lot of that is software, which is a good thing.
Seems like it, yeah.
If it's hardware, then that's just like a big bummer on that aspect. In terms of wide angle lenses, I want to ask you this question. You've tried the wide angle lenses on the LG. The last LG phone was the V40, as well as also the Huawei Mate 20 Pro. Yeah. And now on the Galaxy, who has the better wide angle lens so far for you?
Well, better or worse, it's difficult to tell now.
Which one have you enjoyed the most?
Yes, we didn't overlay the photos and compare the quality of the details, but I think that this one has the super wide angle. It's or is it even called ultra wide angle?
It's ultra wide angle.
Ultra wide angle. It's like the equivalent of a 12mm on a 35mm camera, and that's insane. With straight lines, yeah, that's amazing. I'm blown away actually. Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
All right, guys, there you have it. Marian enjoyed using the Galaxy S10 Plus camera, and it seems like he liked a lot of photos that he saw in there. There's just a lot of software things that Samsung needs to fine tune, which I'm glad it's just software and not like the hardware itself. So I will leave links for the photos that he took so you guys can take a look at them for yourself, so you can take a look at it, and we'll also leave links for some of the other raw images as well, so you guys can can have a look. Definitely check out Marian Sell on his website and see all the lovely photography that he takes, and also follow him on Instagram. His Instagram link is down below. It is Marian Sell on Instagram. And I want to thank you guys for watching. If you're watching us for the first time, definitely hit the subscribe button and get notified about our latest videos. Also, we do have a giveaway of a Galaxy S10e. So don't forget to go ahead and enter the link down below to win yourself the Galaxy S10e. This is Thunder E saying thank you very much and always enjoy your entertainment.
Thank you guys. Bye.